So revive, you teased the revive method. Talk about that, because I think it's a unique take on, you've heard novations, but you have a little bit of a different twist on it. So talk about one of them, because like you said, multiple exit strategies, that could be an exit.
Yeah. And honestly, that's where it started, Nick. It was like, what about these houses that are higher price point where I can't keep them as a rental? It just won't pencil, right? So let's say it's that $1 million house we used earlier, okay? And let's say that's what it's worth fixed up, all right? And I'm like, man, and let's say that the seller is very motivated and the house needs, like, let's use easy math. Let's say that it's like $200,000 of work to sell it for $1 million, right? I was looking at that. I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of risk in this deal. I'm going to have to put $200K into it, hope that it sells for $1 million. And if that doesn't work out, there's nothing to do other than drop price and basically lose my shirt. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this deal, because the seller's motivated. It needs to be fixed up to achieve that $1 million value. Like, how do we partner? How do we work with the seller to make this all happen? So what I started doing was, essentially, we partner with the seller now to go flip the house. And the reason why it's 50% or less is I got to make sure there's enough equity in the deal to where I can go do the rehab and still have a bunch of cushion. Because at the end of the day, like, I want to flip that house, but I don't want to take all the risk. And I don't have to, right? I've done enough deals and lost money enough times. Like, I don't need to go do a deal where I'm going to lose money. So I'm very upfront with the sellers, and we tell them, hey, whether you own it free and clear or you've got a loan, we're going to take over that loan. We're going to change the deed. Okay, this is the important part. If you know what a novation is, a novation, you do not change the deed. You just agree that you're going to pay the seller once you find a buyer, and you're going to market it, do whatever you got to do. On a revive method, we change the deed because we're going to go put a bunch of money. Like, no one is doing a novation, a 200K novation where you're putting 200,000 in the property. That would be crazy, right? So we need to protect ourselves. So therefore, we tell the seller we're going to have a closing essentially on the front end where we change the deed. And at that point, what we do is we go fund all the rehab, all right? And then once we go list it, sell it. Once we sell it, we just have a predetermined profit share with the seller, okay? And the way it typically works is we'll pay off whatever first position loan they had already. If we gave them any cash up front, that obviously comes out, because sometimes sellers just need a little bit of money to move or whatever they need. Maybe they've got a short-term cash flow issue where we can give them some cash up front, okay? So those things are obviously paid first. At that point, then I pay my rehab, right? And I build a profit margin into that. So I'm getting paid right then. Well, you got to look at the math on it, right? So if you just say the loan plus whatever you give the seller plus my rehab, that number often is like 50% of the value. Maybe it's 60 or 70. So I've got this huge cushion now that we split with the seller. And again, all this is disclosed. It's all signed at the beginning, okay? But typically, at that point, we profit share. So let me recap. You paid off the loan. You gave them some money up front. We pay back our rehab. Now, if there's $300,000 of profit left over on that $1 million house, a lot of times I'll give 80, 90% back to the seller of that profit, right? Because at the end of the day, I know the number they want to get to. And I say, the way I get to your number is, well, this is what we got to do. We got to fix up this much in. Then you get 90% and I get 10, right? And I disclosed to them, like, there's no guarantees we sell it for $1 million, but if it does, that is the way I get to your number. That makes sense.
Yeah. Do you ever run into issues because you're transferring deed and title? Do you have any issues with the lender calling the loan due?
It's such a fast one that no, we haven't. I mean, we've done a lot of creative deals, a lot of sub-2 deals over the years. I've seen it happen twice, due on sales call. And typically it's been, one of the issues was there was a miscommunication with the auto pay, and the auto pay didn't go through, and now it was late, and then they went and checked stuff. Another time it was like an insurance thing where insurance was getting triggered. But typically I've not seen it. But even in those situations where I've seen it, this is a fast exit strategy to where we're going to flip it anyway. And let's say they do call it due. It would be a conversation with the bank, be like, yeah, we changed it. We're about to sell this thing and flip it. Would you like us to do that? Or do you want to go through this whole foreclosure process? Or just let us do it and finish paying off your loan. So as I think we both agree, it's a riskier bet when you're going to hold this property for 10 years. But on these ones, we're trying to get in and out 60 to 120 days. In worst case scenario, like, we could go get the capital to just refinance it out with the hard money. But typically we've never had to even take it that far.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense, because by the time that they're going to go through trying to take it back, you probably could have already sold it. So it's a lot different than when you're holding this thing for a decade. I completely agree.
Even if they did it, even if they're like, no, I mean, there are some banks that are just stubborn. They're like, we're going to follow our policy. Even though it makes zero business sense, we're going to start the foreclosure. It's all right. Go for it. I'll be done by the time you foreclose. Yeah.